Welcome back to our Envi block ash versus Firewood ash video. We will be doing the same thing we did in our last 3 videos. We will be comparing the Envi block ash and cleanup. The cleanup in this video is going to be the same as we did in the Firewood videos. We're going to clean when we get to about halfway up on the inside lip, maybe even all the way up on the inside lip. Halfway up is the stove recommendation on the cleanup for this stove, whether you're using Firewood or Envi blocks. On the right here is a ton of Envi blocks. These blocks measure about 6 to 7 pounds per block. There are 3 blocks per pack. There are 105 packages on a ton. A ton equates to 1/4 and 1/8 of burn time. In this location, normally I would have a rack with about 1/8 of firewood or a bunch of buckets that would give me about 1/8 of firewood. With this, I also had the carpenter ants, the bugs, spiders, nails in that firewood. This firewood is clean. There's no glue, there's no chemicals, and right here on the right side I had a ton, which equates to 1/4 and 1/8 of burn time, stacked indoors where I do not have to go outside. The second ton of firewood that we'll be burning is going to be the Envi 8 blocks. These are the 6-pack packages, and there are 100 of these packages on a ton or on a pallet, and they weigh about 3 to 4 pounds. As a side note, when we talk about our stove, we usually recommend buying a stove that comes out just a bit. When you have the stoves that are flush, you cannot put a water pot for moisture on those stoves, so you're forced to run a humidifier. Here we have our water pots. Both of them are filled with water. We use this to put the moisture back in the air. You can also add scented oils or potpourri into these pots, and we fill them about maybe once every 2 days. We try to get the water back in there, just bring the water levels up. But it's a great way to put the moisture back in the air. So one of the things that we highly recommend getting are one of these magnetic thermostats. They just go right on the face of the stove. We put it on the body right here because we don't have access to flue going up. This is crucial. These blocks get very, very hot. It's very hard to get the temperatures out of firewood that you're going to get out of these blocks. I have yet to find firewood that can give me the same heat that these blocks can give me. You don't want to overheat your stove. Okay, so here we are. We're going to get ready to light the stove. This is going to be the first package of bricks out of 105, our 105 that we have right here, that's going to be burnt for the season. And so this is the first light for this this ton of bricks. Easiest way to open this up, well, you can slice it with anything, but with the tools that you already have your poker. If you notice on the Envi bricks, there's a little bit of a indentation here, and the other side has the same thing. So, easiest way to open this up, what I like to do, pop, pull. Okay, that allows me right now simply peel this back, and my bricks are free. Okay, open. We got our Envi block logo. That's 1, 2, and 3. So, as you can see, a little bit of sawdust. That's it. That's the mess. No bugs, no insects, no spiders, and that's all we have. I'll get some fat wood in here and we'll get lightness. Okay, so here's the start. I got about 3 or 4 pieces of fat wood, firewood starters in there. I have a pack of 3 in here. A lot of times with the larger blocks, I'll start with a pack of 3. You can do 4 by setting this brick back and bringing another brick up front. Not a problem. It's a little cooler out. The stove is cold. Sometimes on a very humid day, you might have a lot of humidity in your chimney. It's not a bad idea to just take a piece of newspaper, throw it in the stove, light it, and close the door. Let that heat push the humidity out of the chimney, so you don't have smoke being pushed down and outside of the stove.
Not a bad idea to do that, and it really depends on how long your chimney is, how long that sleeve is, and if there is a lot of humidity out there. So just a little tip for you. If you find you're getting some smoke rolling when you first light your stove, it's humidity that's pushing the air down. You need something such as maybe taking a single piece of fat wood or a couple of strips of newspaper and lighting them in a stove just to generate some heat to push that out. And then from there, you go upon and you start your fire. Once again, we have our 2 water pots here. Water pots will generate some moisture in the air, so the air is not so dry. They do sell scented oils that you can put in those water pots to make the air smell nice. Many people will put potpourri in them. The only thing I say about the potpourri is that make sure there's water in there so you don't start barbecuing, or I should say grilling, the potpourri. I've done that before. And you can see that fat wood takes pretty well, and it looks like this one block here is already lighting. The flame has yet to reach the top block. But so this is our first light, and probably, unless there's something unusual going on, the next time we come back will be on the first stove cleanup. Again, today is, I think, November 5th, and we're going to be measuring how many times we have to clean a stove with the Envi blocks. Thank you.
Hey, we're at our first cleanup, and guess what? We burned 1 whole ton of Envi blocks before we had to do this cleanup. That 1 ton equates to 1/4 and 1/8 of burn time. As in the other videos, we had to shut the stove down several times with a full quart of maple. I think it equated to about 16 times. With maple and oak, it was about 12 times, and 10 times we had to shut the stove down to clean it out when we were doing all oak. Well, the Envi blocks are all hardwood, primarily oak, hard maple and cherry, walnut, whatever they're milling with that day. And we only had to shut the stove down once, and we're not even halfway up on the inner lip up with ash. Notice the ash cleanup is very quick, very fast. We don't have the thick, flaky ash. That's because this material is so clean, it leaves almost no ash to a very fine, fine ash.
Now let's talk about cleanup time. This is the great part about this. Let the stove completely cool down. From the time the last segment to now has literally been probably about 2 minutes. You can see my little cold pieces left, but unlike the firewood ash, that's a very flaky, thick ash. By keeping the nozzle straight down and circling the bottom, I avoid picking up these heavy coals. So it's a little bit of a technique to do this, nothing strenuous, but obviously just keeping this down, circling motion. I have vacuumed up all of this ash. It literally took me no more than about 2 to 3 minutes to get to this point where now I have all of my coals. I have my little coal base. Okay, I reserved the coals, I didn't suck them up. And I'm going to start my next fire on this coal base, the same way we did with the firewood. So I got a little coal base to start on. But the rest of this ash that was in here came up very easy. I didn't have the constant clogging. I don't have any nails in here. You could see we didn't collect any nails, so there's no nails. And that's it. I got my coal base. I'm ready to go. Ready to start my next fire. Okay, so here we are at a stove again. We're ready to light. I've cleaned my glass. I have my little amber base in here. Left over from the previous blocks, and on this round we're going to burn the Envi 8 blocks. Now if you can see here, chair rail sits about 3 feet, just slightly over 3 feet. This here is a ton. It's 2 rows, and for the most part we're stacked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 high, almost 9 high, 2 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6th row is on the hearth. So I have a ton of Envi blocks here. Okay, right here on the side. And just to keep in mind, Last year I had the wood rack right in this spot, just filled just as high, or I was the year before, I also had the bins here stacked up with bins and buckets on the floor with firewood trying to contain the mess. So in that same space I have a ton of firewood. This firewood, these blocks, should last me just like the Envi blocks did, where I had the Envi blocks here. These Envi 8s should last me as long as a cord of wood. Technically the burn time should give you about a cord to a cord and a half. I'm sorry, a cord to a cord and an eighth of firewood. And that's why this full ton, a cord of wood here in burn time, lasted me till January 3rd. Part of the reason, again, it is a warmer winter, but I have been burning about the same, not exactly, but about the same. Okay, so basically the stove got cleaned up really quick, and I feel like it just went by so fast. I should give you maybe something a little more to add to this video. So we're going to talk about how I clean my glass. The stove manufacturers would probably kill me, would be very upset with me. I'm not telling you to clean your glass like this, but this is how I clean it. Instead of having those heavy residue chemicals or chemicals lying around or paying for that, I simply take a water bottle and put a little vinegar water in there, or sometimes just straight water, and I spray my screen down. Okay, and then I take a flat razor and I come across very straight through, just cutting everything off, the backward and forward motion. I don't cut across this way, I don't cut across this way, flat, up and down. And you can feel how this just cuts off the residue. The key to this is to, one, not get too close to the ropes, move very easy around the ropes. Two, don't go on a dry surface. Keep the glass lubricated with water. Use that water as a lubrication. Spray down with one hand, spray it down with one hand, scrape down with the other. Sometimes, in this case, I think I have a little soap dish water in here. It's a very, very minimal amount, just to give me a little more slide. And I have been cleaning this glass like this for going, let's see, 2004 I bought the stove. It's now 2012. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Since I got the stove in 2004, it's now 2012. I've been cleaning my stove like this since I've gotten it, and I have never had a problem. Everything comes off nice and easy. I then take my rag and I'll come and I'll wipe this down. Very soft rag, just drying it up. And you can see the difference in that haze there. Okay, I've done this with the firewood as well, where there's much of a heavy creosote buildup, but this is how I clean my glass. I've never had to change this rope out since I've been cleaning the glass like this. So, you know, something to be said for this stove. It's a Regency, and there's also something to be said for, you know, keeping your stove clean. I also recommend vacuuming the ash out of here in between loading. Whenever you can, keep this ash door clean. It gives you a better seal, and it helps the rope from being destroyed. So it's something I recommend doing. Okay, being that the stove is cold, I'm going to just start with 3 in this case. Now, in the past you may have seen the labels on here, but when this press breaks, it's quite expensive to get those custom made labels, and you may get some blocks that does not have that on there. Plus, to keep a continuous supply, the company has partnered with some of the oak manufacturers that make oak furniture, and so you'll notice sometimes the material may look slightly larger like little pieces, and at other times it's very smooth where it looks like a powder form. So it depends on if they use the oak flooring, or sometimes they will use oak sawdust from making wood furniture. You may see that a very discrepancy, but the good thing is these blocks are all oak. They're all hardwood. They are not using softwood in these blocks, which is great.
Okay, I'm going to kind of repeat this section of the video. This is a cleanup from the first Envi block ton. And the reason why is because I got so excited that there was almost no ash after the Envi 8 blocks, I forgot to record when I was cleaning up. The cleanup worked out to be the same way. I went through 1 full ton of Envi 8 blocks before I had to clean this stove. And the ash was up less than halfway up on the inner lip, which is a stove recommendation. So I still had room to burn more blocks, but I'd like to clean the stoves after each ton for this video. Again, there was almost no ash, and the cleanup was ridiculously fast because the ash was so fine, there was no clogging of the hose. The thing to keep in mind here is that every time you shut down that stove, your boiler is going to turn on and you're burning more oil. This stove only has to be shut down once. So we're on our 3rd ton here, and just to show you, we're on April 27th, and it is 42 degrees out. The low is expected to be 35 degrees. If you're thinking, well, it's February or March and I have no more firewood, I won't buy more Envi blocks. It's a bad idea. You do want to keep some on hand. Last year and this year, where this year was an extremely warm winter, last year was a winter where it was very, very bad, a lot of snow. It went all the way out to about to the 3rd week in April, where the temperatures were still under 45 degrees, 40 to 45 degrees. Don't think that it's March and April and it's going to be 60 degrees out. This year, with a very, very warm winter, one of the warmest winters on record, the temperatures will still 42 degrees all the way out till towards the end of April. On the average, we burn about 3.5 cords on a winter. This was a warmer winter, but our blocks did last longer, so we only burnt about 2 3/4 of a cord of wood. So what we're going to show you here is how long this wood takes us to burn. We added 6 blocks in. We had another 3 from what we had before, and we like to wait till the blocks really heat up and get charred, and then we cut the damper down to about 2 fingers. By doing this, we can get good temperatures overnight, and this will last us approximately 12 hours while maintaining a good cold base for the morning and maintaining our heat at nighttime. So we got this fire started about 10:30 p.m. last night, and here we are at 10:16, almost 12 hours later. And this is what's left of the ash content. What you see is a light coat of ash, and as we turn it over, you'll see there's quite a bit of ambers in here. The stove temperature is still running over at about 100 to 200 degrees, and all we have to do now is just throw a block on top and get this fire going. Overall, you see how much we saved in burn time as far as shutting down our stoves, and the value of the blocks. Thank you for watching our videos. You can visit us online at thelogsplitter.com.